when he had his rights infringed, he had to take it to the municipal court, challenge the statute as unconstitutional, and then it went from the municipal court into the district court, and then to the appellate court, and then to the federal circuit court, the federal district court, then the federal appellate court, and then the U.S. Supreme Court. And the whole time, they're creating a brand new cause of action, creating QSIPs, bonding it, monetizing it, and making millions of dollars just on infringing your gun rights. When all you have to do is void the statute as unconstitutional and sue them. Did you know that there's also a bond behind every code of statute? That you could get money out of the code of statute by finding that it's unconstitutional? Did you know you have the right to set up common law courts? Did you know your common law courts have a right to be enforced directly into the U.S. Supreme Court? You don't have to waste your time with all the Article 1 court stuff? Did you know that? In Texas, we have Justice Alito, who's over Texas. So I've been really busy, but I've been meaning to write him some letters and send him copies of our common law court judgments just to let him know what we're doing, so that as I build a relationship with Justice Alito, he will know that Bonnie Strait is a legitimate attorney, well, the equivalent of Attorney General. I'm Counsel General for the Republic of Texas, and we do real legitimate law because we are the law. We're the creators of the law. We are the government. We are the ones who have the right to protect our people, right? It's already been ruled on in a case called DeShaney versus Winnebago County that they don't have to protect you. Law enforcement does not have to protect you. Government does not have to protect you. Did you know that? Then why do you have them? You have the right to completely collapse the system that you have and do with whatever you need to do. You have the right to alter, reform, and abolish your government in any manner you think expedient. You don't have to abolish it. How about you alter it? How about you reform it? How about you correct your civil servants? How about you put them on notice that we don't tolerate the crimes anymore? How about you put them on notice that they will pay the bills, like I told you earlier when they have to turn off the video? I have the ability to seize the house and the Rolls Royce that civil servant owns. It was interesting. We went to a coffee shop one day, and he was in there, and David saw him. He's like, "That's the guy?" And it wasn't a Rolls Royce. It was a Bentley sitting out in front of the parking lot. Coffee shop. I know. How do judges make $150,000 a year driving a Bentley? It's like a year's salary. You think he's on the tape, getting some money out the back door? You think he's paid by the IMF to do his war crimes against these people? I think he is. All the way through, making securities at every level. A brand new QSIP attaching number is bonded and monetized and sold on the bond market. They made millions off this case. And Mr. Heller, maybe he didn't even know that those securities are his. All he had to do was claim them. Remember in the West Coast, when there was a gold rush, it wasn't the guy that found the gold. It was the guy that went into town and filed the claim that the gold was his that got the gold. Did you know that? Yeah. So file notice of claim that those securities are your property. And that you'll see it. Of course you can. You can go back, even closed cases, things that you thought were closed, they're still out there rolling on the bond market, in the securities market. You just don't know about them, but you can find them. You can find the securities. If you know, if you know somebody that has a Bloomberg terminal, they can find the securities, the QSIP, the ticker symbol, and the bond fund that it was attached to. We find them all the time. Some people charge maybe $125, $150 to look them up. It costs money because it takes time. Bloomberg terminals are really expensive. Okay, so that's just one victory, that they found that municipal ordinance unconstitutional. about your gun rights. Why? Because it says shall not be infringed. Is that an infringement? To force them to lock in one room and the ammo in another under lock and key. Okay, so then there's another one. There's McDonald versus City of Chicago. I know you're shocked that they'd be infringing your liberty in Chicago, right? And this was a 2010 U.S. Supreme Court decision Justice Scalia ruled on. And it was a man, McDonald, who kept having home break-ins. And he wanted me to defend his house. And he pulled a gun on somebody that broke into his home. And he was the one that went to jail. I know you're shocked, right? So, again, municipal ordinance. Here's something else you need to know. Municipal ordinance always have to, they get their authority from the state, but they have to honor the nation state's constitution, and they cannot pass laws contrary to it. So how did he get past the governor to pass an unconstitutional statute other than the governor's in on the racketeering, fraud, and securities manufacturing? Did you know securities fraud is forbidden in the federal criminal code? I know you guys know that because you sit around you read your federal criminal code all the time. Right? So this 18 U.S.C. 1348, securities fraud. Clearly my job is really dangerous because I told you a story about that earlier, right? I had a lady in Texas who tapped a bumper in a Starbucks parking lot. She got taken to jail for DWI. She had open container in her car, but that didn't make her drunk. She spent the night in jail. She was then released. She restored the man's bumper with her insurance, paid the claim, and he also got his rental car paid for. And the state of Texas, through the county, I'm not going to tell you who the guilty county is, but they're dirty as can be, is prosecuting her for a DWI. And she's already restored him and made him whole. She's already restored the bumper. Her insurance had to be like $600 to make the bumper back to normal and pay for the rental car. There is no injured party. She's already restored him. So she fired her attorney. She hired me. We wrote an affidavit stating the very facts I just mentioned to you in sequential numbered order, saying the injured party has been restored. No one's bringing the claim. The state cannot bring the claim without an injured party. Challenging their standing in jurisdiction. Guess what happened? They wanted her to come to court. She goes to court. I'm with her. And I go in with her, and the judge asks her, did you fire your attorney? She goes, yes, I did. Of course, he sees me all dressed up, and I have my fancy little briefcase with me, so I look like an attorney. The judge is probably hoping I'm an attorney, because what they're doing is a private bar guild matter. And the fact that I'm not a part of the bar, it really throws a wrench in their gears, because they can't do their private membership association and keep the Constitution out because I'm not a part of their bar. And now this woman, my client, is standing on her God-given rights, and her affidavit has gone unrebutted. They didn't even want to file it on the record. They said, hey, your attorney has to file it. So she goes, fine, I'll mail it to you, registered mail. And she did, just like we described earlier with the mail label 200. I show up, and the attorney, the judge asked, ma'am, are you an attorney? And I said, no, I'm counsel. He goes, you need to get out of my courtroom. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. This happened, was it March? April, May, somewhere in there of last year. So, I mean, my job is dangerous, right? I need security guards. Any of you guys want to come work for me? You be the bodyguards? I like you. So they're right. So this big 6'4", robust, 350-pound bailiff is up on me with his chest. The judge tells him to kick me out of the courtroom. And I said, I do not consent. You just violated the Texas Open Courts provision, Article 1, Section 13. You just violated your oath. Oath of office, which makes it a penal code crime under Penal Code 39.02 and 39.03. You just violated your oath of office. Do you understand, Judge? And I was out the door. Doors were closed. She's standing there all by herself. And I'm like, oh, I hope she does okay, because she's brand new at standing, right? Brand new at doing her affidavit of repudiation, is standing up as an American State National. And she's in there. She says, Your Honor, I don't consent to the securities fraud and the racketeering that's happening in this courtroom. I found the securities, and they're mine. And she stood on them. Meanwhile, I'm out in the hallway with the attorney who just got fired. So he's not happy. And he says to me, he says, ma'am, you just made a fool of yourself in there. And I said, I don't care what you think of me. All I care about is defending my client's God-given rights, and you're such a slacker, you didn't do your job. So she hired a real counsel to stand up and fight for her. And I'll fight to the death. And oh, wait, by the way, your little boyfriend, the judge, he's going to get sued today. No, I can have a smart mouth, can't I? Better than cursing, though, isn't it? We really? So we leave, because I got kicked out, which invades her right to due process. What is due process? Fundamental fairness. It's fundamentally unfair. She has the right to counsel. It doesn't say bar card holder. It doesn't say they have to be a member of the bar, right? And that Article 6 of the Administrative Procedures Act, by the way, that's the judge's playbook. It says they cannot grant nor deny to anyone the right to represent. They can neither grant nor deny to anyone who's not an attorney the right to represent someone in an administrative hearing. Well, I just stood on that with the judge in that particular case. So we all went to lunch, and I added, because again, she had an affidavit that was super strong that's already gone unrebutted. We went out to a restaurant. I added to her affidavit a brand new one, because I'm about to sue the judge in federal court, right? So I added to it additional facts, because now she's been denied due process. What happens when they deny due process? They lose jurisdiction. When they trespass on your rights without jurisdiction, they're both civilly and criminally liable. Just kind of like I was talking about yesterday when I did the Ellie Mae Clampett impersonation. Well, Your Honor, you know you can't do that. Well, that would deprive my client of due process, and that would render you without jurisdiction. And if you act without jurisdiction and you injure my client, well, my goodness, my client can hold you both civilly and criminally liable and own the home you live in and the toys your kids play with, Your Honor. So let's just do court like grown-ups today. What do you say? So anyway, when they do not follow due process, they don't have jurisdiction. And again, that law brief that's on my thumb drive, it talks about that. So it's not like Bonnie's making stuff up. You can read it for yourself from U.S. Supreme Court decisions about jurisdiction. So we go and we totally weave all of her facts from her affidavit about restoring the man's bumper. We continually add to the facts, and now she's denied counsel, which denied due process because fundamental fairness is protected by the Due Process Clause of the Fifth Amendment, Article 1, Section 19 of the Texas Bill of Rights. And I think we added, because I think she had already 8 pages, and we added 10 more. Because additionally, they can create facts faster than I can type them up. They really can. So we added these additional facts, and I filed it in federal court 3 hours later and sued the judge. Isn't that interesting? No attorney can do that, nor will they. So if it's going to happen, you're going to do it. And you're going to get paid. So here's what happened. And by the way, the pleading of that particular case is on my thumb drive. So you can see what it looks like to plead in federal court. Inequity, where you're not going in under codes or statutes, but you're going in underneath the Constitution, First Amendment rights to redress. and the Texas equivalent, Texas Constitution equivalent. So you'll see what that pleading looks like to sue a judge in federal court. It's a beautiful thing. I'm so proud of my work. It's really It doesn't stop there. Let me tell you more. It gets better. So I already know, because I had to sue not only the judge, the state of, the county of, and the court. Did you know you can sue the court because it's a corporation? How do you sue corporations? You have to show pattern and practice, right? Then corporations are those persons. So what I did when I sued the state of Texas for failure to train, because they have a duty to train the judges, so Paxton and Governor Abbott get sued.